It can't have been a great start to the week for Liberal leader Susan Lee, who woke to some pretty grim news on Monday. You know, when you lead a pro-big business political party, you want big business on side, right? Here's the story. On Monday, a group representing major energy corporations like AGL, Energy Australia, Red Energy, and Origin released a report showing broad consensus among the CEOs of Australia's major energy companies that the shift is happening and that net zero is the least costly way to do it. And that consensus is squarely at odds with the Liberals' new position. The Australian Energy Council, the AEC, surveyed 16 power company CEOs about the future of energy production in Australia. The timing of the release of the results couldn't have been worse for Lee and the Liberals, who ditched net zero last week, joining the Liberals at the hip with their junior coalition partner, the Nationals. But the bigger picture is this. The people responsible for powering 10 million homes and businesses say that net zero isn't optional. It's the only affordable long-term plan. In the survey report, the AEC's Louise Kinnear said, the AEC supports the transition to net zero emissions by 2050 on the premise that the least cost, lowest impact pathway is an energy system dominated by renewables, so wind, solar, including rooftop solar, and firmed with battery storage, gas, and pumped hydro. She also said that AEC members understand the urgency of climate change and that the role of the energy industry is meeting our emission ambitions. We also know that there is no going back from or halting the energy transition. In ditching the Liberal Party's previous commitment to net zero, Susan Lee talked about wanting energy to be affordable for Australians. But affordability is exactly why the CEOs support net zero, because the expensive part is the rebuild, and the cheaper system on the other side is renewables, plus backing them up with things like batteries. The CEOs remained anonymous in the survey, however, one is quoted in saying, the biggest risk to the whole transition is that the general public haven't really cottoned on to the fact that there is a cost to the transition, and power bills will go up for a while before they go down. According to the survey, the CEOs said Australia needs to keep some flexibility in how it retires coal-fired power stations. It's becoming increasingly expensive to maintain coal plants, which are nearing the end of their lives, but the AEC said retiring them early before there are enough renewables in place could create a supply and price shock. And a messy, poorly managed transition is the scenario that pushes bills up, not a net zero target itself. Kinnear said it was crucial that clean, affordable energy remains accessible to everyone during the transition. She said that once infrastructure was built, renewable energy is one of the lowest cost sources of energy, and that in the long run, this approach will still be cheaper than continuing to invest in existing or new coal-fired power. The CEO's message is consistent. Net zero is the least cost pathway. What drives prices up is instability, shifting targets, delayed builds, or a disorderly transition. That's what they say will cost Australians more.